TPS has been extended for El Salvador, Sudan, Ukraine, and Venezuela. Let's talk about it. I'm Bianca Jordan, immigration attorney at Brazen Legal. I work with clients all over the world to help you live and work in the United States with a green card. Visit brazenlegal.com to learn more about me and my law firm. So recently, the Biden administration extended TPS for four countries: El Salvador, Sudan, Ukraine, and Venezuela. So I'm going to go through one by one each country, and I'm also going to provide you with some options if you're looking for how to go from TPS to something more permanent once your status expires. So, really quickly, in case you didn't know, temporary protected status, aka TPS, is an immigration benefit for immigrants who temporarily cannot go back to their home country because of something that is happening there. It could be a natural disaster like a hurricane or an earthquake. It could be a civil war. It could be humanitarian issues like human rights violations that are happening. And temporarily, that country cannot accept the return of its immigrants who may be currently living in the United States. So, under temporary protected status, these immigrants are protected from deportation or even being detained based on their immigration status. They are also able to apply for a work permit, which also allows them to apply for a social security card so they can work legally in the United States. They're also able to apply for something called a travel document, which allows them to leave the country and come back to the United States safely as long as they do so before their status expires. And so, temporary protected status is something really great for an immigrant to have if they are eligible to receive it. Right now, there are 17 countries that have temporary protected status. And so I'm going to go through these four countries so you know who has temporary protected status for these four countries, what that means, what you can do. Let's get into it. So the first country is El Salvador. TPS for El Salvador has been extended until September 9th, 2026. And it's important to know that this is not a redesignation. And so this is not a situation where the US government has reopened TPS up for people from El Salvador. This is only for people who have been in the United States since at least February 13th, 2001. So if you just got here from El Salvador last year or today, you are not eligible to apply for temporary protected status under El Salvador. If you never applied for TPS through El Salvador or any of the countries that currently have temporary protected status and you want to apply, it's very possible to file a late filed application when you're filing your Form I-821 to apply for temporary protected status. It's very possible that you can file a late filed application. It asks you if you are doing so, but you're going to need a very compelling reason as to why you did not apply for TPS before, especially if you are thinking of applying for TPS for El Salvador. So if you are someone who wants to file a late filed application for TPS for El Salvador, I would strongly encourage that you work with an immigration attorney who has extensive experience working with temporary protected status. The next country is Sudan. So TPS for Sudan has been extended until October 9th, 2026. TPS for Sudan is eligible or available, rather, for people from Sudan who have been in the United States since at least August 16th, 2023. Also, for TPS for El Salvador and Sudan, your work permits are going to be auto extended. So, for people from El Salvador, your work permit is going to be automatically extended until March 9th, 2026. And for people who are applying for TPS through Sudan, your work permit will also be auto extended as well. The next country is Ukraine. So TPS for Ukraine has been extended until October 19th, 2026. Ukrainians who have been in the United States since at least August 16th, 2023 may apply for temporary protected status, and similarly, your work permit will also be auto extended. And lastly, Venezuela. TPS for Venezuela has been extended until October 2nd, 2006. You, people from Venezuela who have been in the United States since at least July 31st, 2023, may apply for TPS for Venezuela. And just like the other three countries, your work permit will also be auto extended until April 2nd, 2026. So that's the quick breakdown for TPS for El Salvador, Sudan, Ukraine, and Venezuela. And as I mentioned, it's very important to understand that this is not a redesignation. This is just an extension. If TPS were to be redesignated for any of these countries, it would reopen up the registration, which means that people who came in after the last date would be able to apply. For example, if TPS for El Salvador were redesignated, then it would mean that people who came here, last year would potentially be able to apply for temporary protected status. But unfortunately, that is not what happens here. It was just an extension. So it's only for people who have been here by the designated dates, which you can also check on uscis.gov. If you are interested in figuring out what options you might have to go from TPS to something else, such as a green card, I'm going to share a link to a free resource that I have called TPS to Green Card: How to Leverage Your Temporary Status to Obtain Permanent Residency. Over the past decade plus of my career, I've been able to help a lot of my clients go from TPS to a green card. So I will share this resource with you for free to see if you qualify for any of the methods. I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And if you want more information about how to work with me and my law firm, you can visit brazenlegal.com. Thanks for watching.